welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Talk.
Now, there was a story that was told about the twins brother who their father was an alcoholic. The other one grew up to become an alcoholic. The other one grew up not touching alcohol. And they asked two of them, he said, did you see what alcohol did to my father?
I didn't want to be like him.
I don't want to be like him.
Everywhere you go, this woman has split from her husband, this man has left his family. We don't think it's going to help us as a people, as a nation.
Sense to listen to you because I know that I'm actually don't know this. You see, that overrated this thing is, I don't even want to know.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Prince MADOJEMU Alex. Today on Let's Talk, we're going to be having a very wonderful and interesting conversation. I want to grab a bottle of Coke and your popcorn, sit back and relax while we come to your living room and educate you the reason and the need for you to take into cognizance the mental status of people that work in the school environment. I have a very wonderful girl. She's well-rounded. She's an educationist. She's a school owner. Let me quickly read her profile so that you will know the capability of the person I'm going to be talking with in the studio this early morning. She's a passionate, qualified educator, holds a bachelor degree from the University of Lagos and a master in child and adolescent psychology from University of Liverpool. This also equipped her to the excessive work she does in education as a teacher trainer, a psychologist, a child advocate, and a school owner. She is the managing consultant at Schoolman's Consulting, an education consultancy firm, and also she is the executive director of Applewood British School, Abuja. I find it difficult to pronounce this name. Anyway, you will tell me how to pronounce it. She's an author, an avid reader. She engages on several platforms that seek to improve the quality of education, especially in Nigeria. She is MORENIKE St. Michael. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to pronounce this name. Is it Moremo?
It's Beremo.
Okay, Beremo. What's
yes?
Okay, Beremo. Okay,
yes.
Beremo.
Bere is like saying Ada.
Okay.
So Bere is the first daughter in a Yoruba family.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because I was trying to see if it is just a nickname.
Yes, I get that a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you
actually,
so
this
much.
is what is on your Facebook page.
Yes,
That's where we
is.
get connected. But now let's look at the mental health status of those that work in the school environment. Why is it so important?
Well, it's very important because mental health impacts every aspect of our lives. People working with children are very vulnerable. A lot of them can't speak for themselves. They're yet learning how to behave. They're yet learning what's right and what's wrong. So they're not able to decipher that on their own. So we're going to be exposing them to people. It's important that the people who work with these children who are vulnerable, who don't yet know completely their right from their left, who need protection, it is important that the people who work with them are sound in their minds, are people who are knowledgeable about how to take care of themselves, and how important it is to take care of these children. So yes, I would say far above qualification and experience and everything else that we try to look for when we're seeking people who work with children, the most important thing to look out for is the mental state of the people that we'll be hiring.
Is there any instrument, because hiring is a responsibility of the human resource manager?
Absolutely.
Have there been any instrument in circulation in which the HR will use to measure the mental health status of this potential employee?
Well, what I say for now is for each sector to determine their own tools.
Okay.
Of course, professionally, there are several tools that a psychologist would use, to determine a person's mental stability or mental well-being or mental state, if you like. However, on a layman everyday basis for every workspace, the
Okay,
HR.
now, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Beside
Yes.
the instrument now, maybe there are some things as a human resource manager, I should look out for to see
Yes.
these and these are the things we should be looking out for from this particular person.
Yes. When we're talking in relation to children, one of those things would be the person's response to a child throwing tantrums, for instance.
Okay.
I would advise that you put the person in class to observe them. If you're a big school, for instance, or a big home, because we're talking about working with children, whether in school or at home. You can have a CCTV camera somewhere that's watching how the person is reacting. Even in your conversations with the person, you would get diverse opinions about things. For instance, we now say don't hit children. That means we were raised in an era where hitting children was the thing.
It's number.
So
Because I think that was a program I was watching before you came. That was something I was watching on Facebook. When the mother hit a little boy, the boy fell over and over and over again. I said, this is how we were raised, and we call this discipline. And sorry to digress a little bit. Actually, such treatment has not put us at risk with mental health.
it has actually.
Because any child that was raised, that's an abuse, let me use that word, it's an abuse.
Yes,
It leads to, abuse leads to trauma.
Yes.
Couldn't that be lead to?
Absolutely. You would find that a lot of adults, a lot of us who were raised in that era, we actually carry around trauma, which is the reason a lot of us are very aggressive, because aggression is one of the responses that trauma gives. Because you sort of think, oh, this person is going to cheat me, this person is going to hit me, this person is
going to take advantage of me.
Yes, so before they even arrive, you are there, so that aggression, is trauma speaking, and unfortunately, we don't understand the impact. We don't even understand that we carry trauma around, so we think that, a lot of the time when people tell me, oh, we were raised that way and nothing happened to us, and I'm like, no, you haven't even measured what happened to you. So
you have not measured what happened to you.
So you're going about thinking I'm normal. No, you're not. Something has happened to you. You've been eroded of your self-esteem. You've been eroded of your pride as a human being. You've been, in some extreme cases, children have been stripped naked to be beaten.
Yeah.
So you've been stripped of your humanity.
I have been stripped naked.
So we go thinking, oh, nothing happened to me. Yes, something happened to you. And then we have the need to subdue another human being because we were subdued.
Yeah.
That's true. That's the reason we want to hit
that's
the child.
abuse was to subdue the child.
Yes. So we also, in wanting to show that no, I'm not subdued, we want to subdue another person. Which is the reason we react to children that way. When you have an understanding of the fact that this is normal behavior for children, this is normal response of adults. You don't hit a child. There's something the child is trying to tell you, or there are different ways to discipline a child. Then you would have begun to heal yourself. You would have begun to recognize that no, that's not right.
The recognition is where the problem comes from.
Absolutely, that's another thing, and that's why, like I said, many people saying, "No, nothing happened to me." Something happened, trauma happened, and because we're also not in a society where we openly speak about things, you are hurt about the way your mom treated you, but you feel speaking about it is a betrayal.
And the family will think you betrayed them.
Exactly.
How dare you talk about them in the public?
So
how dare you talk about them?
You don't talk about it, you carry it around, but it peeps, trauma until it bursts, unfortunately, for some people. But you can't keep trauma suppressed for a long time. It's expressed, it looks for expression. So it's expressed in the way that we deal with each other. It's expressed in the way we deal with children. It's expressed in the way we deal with our colleagues at work. deal with, everyone we come in contact with. Unfortunately, but well, we're turning the curve. We're beginning to talk about it.
Yeah, now we're having the conversation. That is
Yes.
I think that is the first
Yes,
step, because
it's
before
a
now
great
we never
step.
had this kind of conversation.
Exactly.
We just believe I'm fine, I'm okay, and it's affecting our home. It's affecting the way we raise children. It's
Exactly.
affecting us the way we relate in the
Everything.
workspace, and particularly because I think beside home, then the other space where the children need to learn, where they need to relate, is school environment.
Yes.
Okay, those, let me use the word, those who have not actually have that recognition that they were abused, that their reaction to every child's behavior, that child's behavior is actually triggered to what happened in the past.
Exactly.
Then the child runs away from home, goes to school, face through the same thing from a teacher who also have the same problem with the parent,
Yeah.
and the cycle continues. So that's why we're having this conversation.
Yes.
That if a child should be able to escape from one angle, should be able to deal with some issue at a very high level or from a certain angle.
Yes.
So now we're talking about HRO. Identify. You have listed so many things that the HRO should look out for, or the school administrator or the school owner should look out for.
Yes.
Now let's look at the individual teachers now. As an individual teacher, my reaction to things, like you have said, it's an indication that something is wrong,
Yes.
not necessarily what the child did. So how will I begin to take care, or that's what they call teacher self-care now, how will I begin
Yes.
to take care of my mental health state, so that those things that got me triggered, I will be able to cope with them, I will be able to address them appropriately.
Yes. One of the very most important things to do is reflection. Trigger doesn't tell you when it's coming. You're just in a place and something triggers, and then you react, because that's there's something we call flight, fight, or freeze. You don't at that point determine that this is what I'm going to do. Your body just,
You don't determine your response at that moment, but
your
just
body just takes, your brain tells your body this is the safest thing to do. It's either to flee, it's either to fight, or to freeze. So because we don't have, because that happens, that sometimes you have no control, you have to start with reflection. How did I react to that situation? Could I have done it better? We do that with the children.
could I have done it better?
Yes, that's what we do a lot of that with the children. When a child hits another child or says something not too good to another child, part of the process is that child sits and reflects. Is there a different way I could have reacted? And so the adults must learn to do that. Could I have done this better? Oh, well, yes, I hit this child this time. Well, could I have done this differently if I chose not to hit the child? So the adult has to be aware of their choices at all times. We can't create a void. If we say don't do this, then there must be something you should do. Yes, so that comes with equipping the individual. These are the choices you have. When trigger comes, when you begin to feel, oh yes, something's about to happen, you have the choices. Sometimes the choice could be to walk away or to continue to stay. If you make the choice to walk away, what do you do when you walk away? Because you must resolve that. You don't just walk away and leave it unresolved. Right, if I leave, what responses should I give? So equipping the individual with the choices that they have, also helps them to deal with mental health, because you already know, you are able to identify that these are my choices, this is what I'm going to do, and then you walk away or you stay and do this.
So you are a trainer, you're a teacher trainer.
Yes.
You are an educator yourself, but
Yes.
you are a trainer. I think many schools doesn't actually include this when they are carrying out their training. They have other things they could talk about, but the teacher himself, they never talk about it. You could tell the teacher how to handle the child, but you, as an individual, as a teacher, I think this thing should be expanded, where the school proprietor or the school administrators or the school authority should
Yes.
begin to put this thing into place, that we need to educate these teachers also about their mental health states.
Yes.
How to respond to things.
Yes.
Would that be appropriate to do?
It would be how to take care of your health. You know, identifying when you need to rest, because the truth is, the world, there's so much going on around us. You know, you get a stimulus here, you get a stimulus here. People are overstimulated.
Yeah, overstimulated.
You know,
yeah.
So you
getting back home, there is no light. Getting back home,
exactly.
there is no water. Getting back
Everything
home,
is
there is no
pulling
this.
you. You have to know when to shut it down and how to shut it down. You know, you have to know when to sleep, because that's also one of the issues that the current generation has. We don't sleep enough. We don't exercise enough.
You wouldn't blame us, because we're like what they call the rat race.
Yes.
Everybody is pursuing one.
One
Ask
thing or
anybody,
the
what are
other.
you pursuing actually? We don't know. When are you going to get it? We don't know.
Absolutely. I know. You know, you just. But if we're intentional about
being
being mentally
intentional,
healthy,
I think
you know,
that
you have
would
to
be
know
right.
that the things you eat, the amount of sleep you get, the amount of sit down time, because we're all now either behind tables and behind desks and doing something. You have to know that to stay mentally healthy, to produce the right amount of hormones that keep you mentally healthy, you have a certain number of hours that you must be active in a day, you know, physically active in a day, you know. So all of that, the individual must be equipped, you know, from what you eat, in fact, there are some people that you ought to avoid.
Yeah,
know,
that's
if
true.
You know that this person triggers
It triggers me, so you have to.
me anxiety. You know, no, I'm not going there. You know, essentially being intentional, and being intentional comes with being informed. You know, you have to know what mental
Health
what
is.
kind of what mental health looks like, and what unhealthy mental status looks like. Because, like we said, it may look healthy, like someone who has diabetes, for instance. You look at him, he looks good, you know, but no, something's not right
Something's
somewhere,
not right.
you know. So they have to know what are the symptoms that you look out for. You know, I'm angry all the time, I'm stressed all the time, I'm shouting all the time, my brain is constantly in motion. You know, even when I'm not thinking or focusing, but then your brain is constantly.
It's always a
in
hyperactive
motion.
mode.
Tendencies, you know. So you have to be able to identify what symptoms you have, you know, and then there are simple tools on the internet that you could use to determine your individual traits, you know, and then at the end it shows you if you're a little bit you know, getting too aggressive to normal, you know, you get angry at this, what's your reaction to this, you know, and then at the end it tells you you should take it easy, oh, this is within normal range and all of that. But we know when we're under stress.
Yeah, we know when we're under stress,
know
but
when we're
we
under
admitting
stress.
that we're under stress, that we need to be intentional about how we control how when we are stressed. Or like somebody say, oh, I'm stressed, but coming back home, there are other things that needs to be done. Let's say, for instance, a mom that you are stressed at work, they're coming back home. Taking care of your children is something you must do, and you have to do, especially when the children are not of the age to support you, or maybe your husband is not available to support you. There's nobody. You need to do these things. They are mandatory, and you have to wake up the next morning also to make sure you prepare them for school. Yes, I know I'm stressed at work, but do I actually have the time to rest? So within that space right now, work, domestic work, then work the next morning. Where do I have time to rest?
Yes. Well, there are things you could do. For instance, you could read a book.
Okay.
You know, in between, then you could listen to music just for the sake of it.
Okay.
Soothing. You know, I discovered a jazz. What would I say? Trend on the internet. You know, and I realized that once I begin to listen to it, I just sleep.
You know, we live in a world where we play high music,
Yes.
and it also triggers you.
Exactly. It you're just mentally.
You are drained already. You are listening to kind of music that almost triggered you.
Yeah, no movie. You're just lying down, but the music is overstimulating. You know, so we have to learn to listen to soothing music. You know, turn off the lights sometimes and just be in darkness. You know,
okay, just turn off the lights, just be in darkness.
Yes,
then listen to music.
Listen to music. Sleep enough. You know, there is some people will tell you, oh, I've never slept 4 hours in all my years. Well, some people may get away with it. So just like a few people are geniuses in this age, but not all of us are.
Not all of us are geniuses.
Exactly.
No.
So we have to know that majority of us have to sleep a minimum of 8 hours.
8 hours. That is what your body requires to
Exactly.
to repair itself.
Yes, and then things like eating. Most of the things that we think are only for physical health, you know, like eating very late, the body not resting.
I think I'm guilty of that. Eating very late.
You have to reduce that, you know, because you won't be able to sleep on time when you sleep late. You won't be able to sleep on time, and your body, the way that your brain is supposed to cleanse when we sleep, the brain sort of cleanses the body of certain toxins that, you know, that we went through
throughout the whole day.
Yes, you know, when you don't sleep on time, the brain doesn't get the opportunity to do that. When you eat late, your digestive system that should be resting when you are resting continues to
work.
You know, and all of these produce chemicals in the body that affect your mood, affect everything, you know.
Could that be that sometimes, because there are sometimes somebody just wake up just feeling moody, you're not happy,
Yes.
every little thing just triggers you,
Yes.
and you ask yourself, what happened? I have not had any interaction with anybody.
Exactly, you know. So, you know, there are chemical imbalances in the body, you know, especially women. You know, we go through, let's not even start that here, you know, but there are chemical imbalances. There are mental health issues that are linked with chemical imbalances, you know, and these chemicals are produced in the body under certain conditions. So when those conditions are not there, you know, then there are issues that come along with that. You know, they even tell you physical contact, a hug, a cuddle, you know, produces some chemicals in the body, you know, that help with mental health. You know, so you are giving someone a hug, you're holding someone tight, you know, all of those things contribute to human mental health. You know, but unfortunately, the way the world is, the same way that sugar isn't good for us, but sugar is in everything.
It's in everything we eat.
It's the same thing now that human touch is healthy, but unfortunately, the way that the world is going now, you know, the less of you I see, that's what the world is promoting. You know, I can stay in my room all day, do my transactions,
and interact with people, though you don't have physical touch with them,
exactly.
in physical interaction with them. People are even more comfortable with that.
Exactly.
Just have talk to you on phone, chat on WhatsApp, on Facebook, do my internet banking. You make an order online. You do everything without having any physical touch. Is that not actually? Is it not dangerous if we told that lie?
It is dangerous, and it's one of the reasons. If you've been following mental health since about the 2000s, you know, since internet and all, you find that it's been on the increase.
Yeah.
Because the more we have, the less physical interactions we have, the more lonely people feel.
We feel, and increases our mental deterioration.
Absolutely, you know, because all day you're not quite having any interactions with anyone. You are on there on the internet. You think people are close to you. You know, the other day a friend of mine was talking about her cousin who lost her husband. She's a social media person, you know, and then she lost her husband, and about 2 days after that, she was alone at home, you know, with her kids. No one, you know, everyone who came to visit her had gone.
And people rather call her on phone. How are you?
And she had a social media presence, you know, so it gave her a feeling of, oh, I have people. But in the real sense
You don't
of
have.
needing people,
You don't have
nobody,
anybody.
you know. So
Well, as we quickly round up, honestly, I wish we have enough time to
I
discuss.
know.
Okay, first of all, let's start with the school administrator. What are your final thoughts to them first? Then, secondly, the teachers themselves. What are your final thoughts to them?
Yes.
Because from the school administrator to teachers, then from teachers to children, let's leave children out of it. Those two categories
Yes,
in the
the
chain.
administrator has to constantly be on their toes. You have to be there to support teachers. You have to be there to observe teachers, because as we said, sometimes these people don't even know that they have mental deficiencies. You know, so when you are observing, you are able to call the person. Oh no, that was an aggressive response to that child. You know, it could even be verbal. They may not be hitting the child, but they're verbally responding aggressively. So the administrator has to be there, you know, has to constantly be observing, be supporting, be supportive, you know. And then the teachers themselves, reflection is the point at which we are now. It's reflections that we start with. And if you find yourself needing rest, please take the rest. You know, go in, speak with the HR, and let them know, please, may I have a day off? May I have 2 days off? You know, that you stay at
But
home.
that is another thing, because if you meet the HR or the administrator or the school authority, please, can I have a day off to rest? They'll say, oh, if they agree, they will take it from your salary, and nobody want to lose your salary,
Yes, it's a cycle now that we have started on.
Okay.
And we are speaking and we're letting people know that, look, the truth is, most people, if you talk about in the UK or America, where there's been a lot of shootings, you know, random shootings, these people cry out and nobody listens.
Listen to them.
You know, so if someone does come to you to say, please, may I have a day off, or you observe a person and you let them, and you see that this person is under undue stress, and you can call them, how about staying at home for a day or two? You know, and it doesn't affect their salary, because quote and unquote, it saves us random shooting. You know, so we have to choose.
So to avoid more damages that was even
Exactly.
random shooting. Yeah, you can see that one, but there are some unseen damages that we can never notice until later in life.
Yeah, because when children are damaged, sometimes because they can't voice out until they grow up, you know, and you reflect on, oh, this person did to me 10 years, 20 years ago is actually affecting me. It affects how people view other people. It affects our relationships. It affects marriages.
Yeah.
It affects parenting.
Parenting, very well.
You know, it affects productivity, because a deeply unhappy person suffering from trauma of childhood would be less productive on the job. You know, because innately they are unhappy. You know, they have unresolved issues. So it affects productivity.
Well, thank you very much, Morenike St. Michael. I'll call you Beremo now, so I can pronounce it very well. I think I can pronounce it very well. I love you. I think that's all we can take today. If you are a teacher, I think I will urge you to listen to this video again and again and again. And if you want to reach out to her for counseling, for training, I think I will make her details available on the screen where you can reach out to her, because we have to take into consideration of our role in the society. We are the one building teachers. I want to use we because I am not a teacher. Sorry, I used that word. Teachers. Teachers are the one actually building the society. The attitude and the behavior of teachers is what we are going to see later in future. So it is important to take your mental health status very seriously. Until I come your way again next week, same time, same station, my name remains Prince Alex MADOJEMU. See you. Bye-bye.
Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Talk.
Now, there was a story that was told about the twins brother who their father was an alcoholic. The other one grew up to become an alcoholic. The other one grew up not touching alcohol. And they asked two of them, he said, did you see what alcohol did to my father?
I didn't want to be like
I don't want to be
him.
like him.
Everywhere you go, this woman woman has split from her husband, this man has left his family, we don't think it's going to help us as a people, as a nation.
Sense to listen to you because I know that I might actually not know this. You see, that overrated this thing is, I don't even want to know.